So, Renzo, this week in News in Slow Spanish Latino, you and I talk about
Great podcast, by the way.
great
If you
podcast.
haven't heard it, you should check it out. Okay, sorry. Keep going.
Shameless self promotion.
Shameless.
Yes, we host a podcast called News in Slow Spanish Latino, language learning through the news, but many more things, series, grammar expressions.
Yes.
But going back to my introduction, this week we talk about a very, very typical Spanish expression that says,
Oh, that's
paso
right.
a paso.
Se va lejos.
Yes, paso a paso se llega lejos, which means step by step you arrive further.
That's right.
There's
Literal
one-
translation would be like step by step, you'll go very far.
And I don't know why I immediately associated that with a fascinating series I'm watching right now on Netflix called The Playlist.
Oh, I've heard about this from you. Tell me more, though.
Yes, it is about the origins of Spotify. First of all, I didn't know Spotify was Swedish.
Swedish?
It is. It
I
was
did not know that either.
Yes. And it's fascinating because you see how step by step they had to overcome all the possible obstacles from the record labels, the artists, the marketing issues, the technological issues. The coders had so many issues to create that amazing, playlist or software, I don't know, streaming service. So it made me think of this sentence. And I also thought of one of my favorite proverbs. It's an African proverb.
Oh, I know which one you're going to tell me, but please.
Let's see if you know me that well.
Oh, of course. Okay. It's the one that the best way to eat an elephant is one bite at a time.
Exactly. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time.
Which I don't condone eating elephants, by the way.
I don't eat any animals, but...
Oh, that's right.
Paso a paso se llega lejos is like little by little you can arrive far away. And I know you investigated the origins of that sentence.
Yes, I did. You tasked me with finding out a little bit about the history and the origins. And of course, so first of all, this expression, paso a paso se llega lejos or se va lejos, is kind of self-explanatory, right? The meaning is right there. If you take things one step at a time, you'll go far, or you'll go further. Perhaps the implication is that you'll go further than if you try to rush things.
Is it an English equivalent? Another expression that I really love, not an equivalent, the opposite, like bite more than you can chew.
Oh.
That's the opposite, right? When you do
it's kind of the
everything
opposite,
at the same time instead of little by little.
Yes, but that one can also mean if you take on a project that's too big. But okay, I'll take that back, because if you take on a project that's too big, biting off more than you can chew, you can still accomplish your goal as long as you take things one step at a time, as long as you go slowly. It's like the African proverb, one bite at a time to eat a whole elephant.
Or paso a paso se llega lejos. By the way, before you continue with the origin of this expression, this is just a Spanish phrase.
Oh, yes, just a Spanish phrase where we explore the fascinating world of Spanish expressions. Of course, we're doing it in English here so that everybody can participate, but expressions that bring language to life. And you can hear these expressions featured every week in our episodes of News in Slow Spanish, which we promoted earlier. So, back to paso a paso se llega lejos. It's a colloquial phrase that has evolved over time, but most theories point to an origin in Aesop's fable.
Oh,
you know which one?
Yes, the one about the turtle and the rabbit.
Yes, the turtle and the tortoise and the hare is another way I think that people call it. Now, hare, rabbit, I don't actually know the difference, if I'm being honest. But yes, the rabbit or the hare is very fast, but in a race against the tortoise, it kind of rests on his laurels. It thinks, there's no way that I'm going to lose to a tortoise, so I can, take breaks. And in doing one of these breaks, at least one version of the fable is the rabbit falls asleep, and the tortoise, who has been diligently walking the whole race at a tortoise pace, beats the rabbit because actually it reaches the finish line before the rabbit wakes up and realizes that he has to finish the race.
Yes, I love it. It reminds me of, I think it was Picasso who says, that creativity is 1% inspiration, 99% perspiration.
Yes.
And the world of art or of writing is filled with very, very talented people that never did anything because they only trusted their talent. While on the other hand, you have not so talented people who work so hard day after day that those are the ones, publishing, exhibiting, etc.
Mhm.
Because genius without effort leads you nowhere.
That's why it's so good to remember things, like this phrase reminds us that there's a lot of effort that goes into success because so that's why I like the example you brought up earlier about Spotify, because you think of sometimes projects like this, companies like this as overnight successes, but really there's a lot of effort that went into creating something behind the scenes. And
All the
maybe
time.
yeah.
And all the doors that close, all the people that said no. So many, when you read the life stories of famous artists or famous writers, so many editorial houses reject a work that's going to end up being very famous until one little editorial house believed in that project, and then boom, it's a success. Even David Bowie, which is one of my favorite artists of all time,
Mine
he,
too.
he got booed at stage at some point early in his career.
Yeah. Audiences
Imagine,
were not ready.
no, they were not ready for David Bowie. So imagine if he had said, "Oh, you know what? That's it. That's it for me. Nobody understands me. I'm gonna quit."
Yeah.
Or audiences do not get me. They're not ready for me. I'm gonna quit.
Luckily for
He
us,
didn't quit.
Paso a paso se llega lejos, and he was filling stadiums within a few years.
Yes, and he continued working paso a paso, se llega lejos every day a little bit until his last day. I think his last album, Black Star, came out 2 days before he died, or
Yeah.
2 days after. I keep confusing those, but he continued working despite of having ups and downs, like every single entrepreneur, artist, lawyer, doctor, whoever.
Yes, it's a good reminder. It's a good reminder of sticking to your goals, of having patience. It reminds me of something that I've been practicing over the last several years now. I grew up in a city. I didn't have a garden, but now I have a garden and I garden in it. I actively garden and I grow fruits and vegetables every year. And that is an exercise in patience. You can't rush a plant to give you what you want from it. You have to wait. Paso a paso se llega lejos. And you have to do your, watering and your tending and your weeding. And it's
And how is it possible that I haven't tried the fruits and vegetables from
oh,
your
but you have.
garden?
You don't remember the tomatoes.
Oh,
The
yes.
tomatoes. That's
Okay.
right.
Those were good.
And
There's,
proof that paso a
yes.
paso se llega lejos. One more thing about the origin of this one is that, so since it traces back to Aesop's fables, the fable specifically of the tortoise and the hare, there's a version of this in almost every language that has some connection, to European um, history. And one of my favorites is the Italian version of this phrase.
I know it. Piano piano si va lontano.
Yes,
Eh?
yes. Chi va piano va lontano. And then in Spanish, that sounds so great. It has such a great sound that in Spanish we have borrowed it. That's why you were saying piano piano se va lontano. That's a Spanification, I guess, of the Italian one.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, we borrowed it. We borrowed it and made it our own.
And which means little by little you arrive very far.
Yes, yes. Slowly, basically, the one who goes slow goes far. That's literally what it's saying. Like the tortoise.
Like the tortoise.
Yeah.
Well, that was just the Spanish phrase for this week. I hope you enjoyed it. And I think you have something else to say, Renzo.
Because there's one more thing that's just a perfect example of this phrase and its meaning. And it's language learning.
You cannot learn in 3 months.
No, you got to take it easy. You got to put in the time and hopefully enjoy it while you do it. Like the tortoise. Go
Like
slow.
writing, like creating,
Yes.
like eating an elephant, probably, but back in the
So
full circle.
our recommendation today would be if you're learning a language like Spanish, but also French, Italian, German, any language you're learning, take it slow, enjoy the process, check out resources like News in Slow Spanish, and if you take it slow and go step by step,
You will arrive far.
yes,
Piano, piano.
si va lontano,
Paso a paso.
se va lejos.
Adiós.
Bye.